So if I get maybe 80%, my friend gets 90%, it'll break me.
That's it.
She's better, he's better, and I'm not good enough. So that's the major issue. And that I think is linked to every other issue. So whether it's body shaming or insecurity or exam anxiety, it's all linked to your lack of self-confidence.
Comparison. The world is yours for the taking. Let's talk about the triumph, the challenges, and the dreams of the next generation on my youth talk show, Say Something with Mads, where youth takes the lead. Today, it's especially a very, very important day for me because we have a really well known change maker. She is done so well for herself, and it will take one whole episode to tell her what her work is. So let's first welcome Anoushka Jolly. She's joining from Delhi. Hi Anushka, how are you doing?
Hi, I'm doing good. How are you doing? It's so nice to
Uh,
be here.
Thank you so much, Anushka. So, before we start this conversation, I'll just tell you that Anushka has been all over the social media because last year she got featured in Shark Tank and she got 50 lakh as an investment from a shark for her. We will talk about this an app, right? Mental
Yeah.
wellness app called Kavach.
Yeah.
We will definitely talk about this a lot, and I want to learn from her about her anti-bullying squad. She does with her school children. She speaks to them, and a lot on the plate today. So let's start by asking Anushka. Anushka, introduce yourself. Who is Anushka, and what does this name mean? And about yourself in general. Where are you from? What are you doing right now?
So, my name is Anoushka, and it's really nice to be here. I'm 14 years old. I live in Delhi, and I'm studying ninth grade. I started my work on bullying and mental health when I was 9 years old. And so far, I've been able to impact over 2 million adolescents in 20,000 schools. But apart from that, I'm also passionate about entrepreneurship, about psychology. I I say that I love reading, but I haven't really read a book since August, so I have to work on making that a habit. And I love coffee. I like watching Bollywood movies, and I'm just a normal kid. I hope to see a more empathetic and a better world. That's what I'm trying to create.
I'm sure you are in grade 9, and next few years are going to be tough for you. So, what is the plan after your grade 10? What do you want to study psychology, or you are also a techie? You are good in tech and mental health. You have a very good blend of this. So, where do you want to see after 10th? What do you want to plan to do?
So I'm planning on pursuing my 10th, 11th, and 12th, most probably from Open. I plan on focusing on
Okay.
my on enterprise full time with the support of my school. I go to Pathway School, Gurgaon, and so they've always been very supportive and very open with my work and helping me manage my studies. And I do want to study psychology as well, so I will probably do that after I've worked on this a bit, and maybe I would get a PhD or just wanna. But for now, I think I will be good if I just keep on reading and understanding psychology better. Uh, so that's the plan for now.
Okay, a lot. So you will not pursue the regular school, and you will focus on your venture. So let's start with that. When we have started, see, I was listening to your talks, and there was a lot of talk about metaverse, Web 3.0, which I found a little difficult to understand initially. But then I googled everything, and I said, I think I must ask Anushka. Anushka, how do you integrate tech and mental well-being, and how did you even think of doing all this? Take us back to the journey of this integration of both the things. First of all, why mental health, and then why did you think of integrating it with the tech, and how difficult it is to explain this to people like me?
So I started, as I said, when I was 9 years old, and I didn't start with mental health. I
Hmm.
started with bullying. And that was because I myself experienced bullying. And when I overcame it, I decided that I wanted to do something about it. So I talked to my parents and I talked to my teachers. And what they suggested was that why don't you start a website? So all of my entire initiative started from a website, started from technology. But initially, I was taking offline sessions where I used to go to different schools and I used to actually talk to the students
I'll have
about
to interrupt you
bullying.
here, Anushka, to understand how, as a young girl, 9 year old, you were invited. Like, when did you actually start speaking about it? A website? You made a website? And what was it called?
It was called Anti-Bullying Squad, and I
Okay.
researched and I'd written blogs and content about bullying on my own when I was 9 years
Hmm,
old.
hmm, hmm.
Yeah. And then I started going to different schools and taking
Okay.
sessions. So that was a progression.
Hmm, hmm, hmm. So you were
Yeah.
talking about how integrated it, that what is this technology and how it's an app. What is it about? Just take me through
So
that.
I started with after I started taking these sessions, then the pandemic came. And
Hmm,
actually, when the pandemic came, that's when my entire approach basically changed. And I decided that I was going to incorporate technology in all of my approaches. Because when I started taking online sessions, it expanded my reach so much. Because in
hmm,
offline, you're able to talk to maybe 40, 50 kids in a room at a time. But now I was able to talk to 200, 300 kids at a time. And then when I also, after that, created a recorded program, through that, I was able to reach way more people and even teachers and parents and schools. I was able to reach a lot of schools through that program. So
hmm.
when I saw how effective it was online compared to offline, I sort of decided that whatever I'm going to do now is definitely going to incorporate technology so just I can expand my reach and reach out to maximum amount of people.
So what is the future of this? What does this investment from the sharks mean? Where are you going to take this? What is it going to happen in future?
So I got my investment for an app I created called Kavach, and this was an anti-bullying app which focused on bullying reporting in schools because I feel like
Okay. So they will like a
made
band or something, they'll wear it?
It was actually if you're anonymous bullying reporting. So if you're getting bullied, you can report it on the app, and it sort of bridges the gap between authorities in schools and
Oh,
victims of bullying, to create
oh,
that to
wow.
fill that gap. So
Okay.
I uh, went to schools and I implemented it. But now I'm actually working on a holistic mental health solution
Hmm,
called
hmm,
Kavach 2.0. So that's going to be focusing on mental health as a whole. And that's basically wants to make mental health resources and support more
correct.
accessible for teenagers. Because I mean, I
Hmm,
have friends too, and or whoever I've met really over the course of my journey, it's very difficult for us to seek help, for us to
hmm,
seek professional help, even because of the
hmm,
stigma and because of the affordability. So I'm trying to make that easier and also add aspects of community and content in the app. So that's what I'm working on now. And as for the
hmm.
metaverse web 3.0, so that's more of a roadmap sort of thing. And after I build Kavach 2.0, that the
Okay.
work is already ongoing for that. But after I build Kavach 2.0, that's going to be my main focus. But that's
Okay.
more, a more future approach.
Futuristic, yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Anushka, there's something interesting when you said that you have a recorded talk which people can listen to at will whenever you don't have to be there. So where can people access this recordings of yours on your website?
It's on my app, abscoverage.com. It's also on YouTube. It's also on Teachable, so you can access it anywhere. And it's just a 1 hour program, and it's 10 videos, covers all aspects of bullying. So from the bully's perspective, victims, bystanders, there's a
Wow,
chapter on
that's
school
amazing.
and teach. So I think that chapter on schools and teachers, that was the chapter that attracted a lot of authorities to watch that program and understand better.
Having being in this teaching field for a very very long time and having seen this various type of bullying and effect on this, And now that I'm away from the teaching, and now I can see it from the perspective of the youth, right? When you are in the middle of this, you have to balance the teacher, the parent, the management, everything. It's a different thing altogether. But when you look at it from outside, it's a huge thing. It's a huge impact on people, and it's a scar people carry throughout their life. So people can listen to them, and then they might connect to you, and they might. So this is something which I wanted to highlight, that these are modules are available. Do go and listen to it. Anushka, what is it again? Kavach, abskavach.com.
Yeah, abskavach.com.
All right. So I will just put this again in my description.
Since you've been a teacher, you must have like seen a lot of bullying happen. So what type of bullying mostly happened, and how do you think teachers responded?
I have seen a lot of bullying. Bullying happens, starts with different, there is about economic status. You don't have this. Why don't you have it? See, this is supposed to be a cool thing to have. Okay, that's something. It happens the way you speak. Not everybody can speak good English. They have a different, they come from different backgrounds. So when you speak in a certain kind of way, they'll be bullied. People suddenly very good, happy, people suddenly will be quiet, because the moment they open their mouth, there are so many people laughing, talking about their accent. This has been a very predominant in international schools I've seen, because here the class hierarchy is very different, about your economic differences, what you wear, what you talk, which car you come from, and mostly it will be about your physical, how you
Yeah,
look. So that
yeah.
has been a major, major point of bullying. The girls are bullied by the boys. Even the girls are bullied by the girls themselves to be cool. I mean, I've seen all lot, and a complete breakdown mentally. Stop coming to schools. The major cases have dropped down from school. So many of them. When we talk to the parents, there are so many things involved. The people are not able to handle, that schools are not equipped to handle this, because there's
Hmm.
so many other things involved. You don't have
Yeah.
a very, it's just a counselor in just
Hmm.
in name. They are not able to handle this kind of serious bullying. Yes, counseling happens at all level. Every day it happens, somebody said something. But and bullying, Anushka, happens a lot in school buses. A
Definitely.
bus is a very, very fertile ground for bullying, I think. And people have done such bad things, and I have had witness to this. This may not be the channel, but buses, people have dropped down from buses and taken the child through car, because that is where they have been bullied left, right, and center. So yes, I've seen them all.
There was one experience that somebody shared with me that actually was when he got bullied in the bus. And there were these senior kids who used to basically
Yes,
beat him every single day, and they used to hurt him, and he got bruises on his arm.
bruises.
So when he went home and he told his mom about it, his mom just refused to believe him and didn't do anything. I think this was 2 years ago or something, but it stayed with me because I honestly cannot understand how some parents go without taking action. And
Mm.
maybe it's because they don't know or they don't understand or they're
You know,
scared. But
there are a lot of things involved. Like they say that we have no other option but to avail of the bus service. We are not in a position to drop and pick up our child. How is he going to commute? So we have to send them by bus, and the child is so traumatized. They will pee in the bus sometimes because of the trauma which they have gone through. The best thing is, what you are doing is to talk and not to suppress it within.
yeah,
Just let it out. Somebody is there who will hear you and help you. Yeah, Anushka, this table has been turned. We are now in a question answer mode. Okay, Anushka, I was going to ask you that you had gone to so many schools. I see you addressing the children. What is that one memorable incident or something where you felt that children asked you something and you were like moved, that you have attended so many seminars, so many talks, something which has stand apart, something which you think that, yeah, it's some impact has been made and people have really received it well, and they have come and given you good feedback, or anything which comes to your mind.
I think when I go to these schools, the best part of the session is when the students actually
Ask
talk about
questions.
their experiences, because
Uh,
they feel that kind of comfort around me, and they trust me even though they've only met me or known me for 40 minutes, which is just great. And I see that that connection that I've been able to establish, it's been consistent in every session. There have been kids who maybe have been getting relentlessly bullied and they don't know what to do, or they haven't been able to speak about it, but
mm.
they're very open about it to me, and that's really stayed with me for.
Anushka, because you have a personality, when you speak, you feel from the heart and it's not coming from somewhere else. Tell me which age group you see that maximum bullying happens, and how do they open up in front of you, the teachers and all? Are they, oh, they share their incidents?
So I think for younger grades, it's more not exactly bullying. I would say it's
Mm.
meanness, but since
Meanness,
they're
yeah, yeah,
young, they term it
yeah.
very differently. I think most bullying happens between sixth grade, early middle school to ninth grade.
Ninth, yes,
Sixth to ninth,
you are
because
right.
that's like when you're forming your personality
Yeah,
and you're
body
forming
goes
a
through
friend group.
changes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm.
So that's when it's a very like very you have high chances of being bullied. But when you're still in
Mm.
senior school, I think over there you're still very comfortable. You still know how to deal with a lot of toxic people.
Yes, you are
But
right.
when you're sixth or
Mm.
ninth, you don't really have that experience or knowledge,
Mm.
so you're very likely to get bullied. I think that's
Mm.
what it is.
That's the age group. Yes, I agree.
Yeah.
Especially eighth and ninth are very
Yeah.
vulnerable children.
Me too.
Yeah. Moving away from this, you have been awarded Pradhan Mantri Bal Shakti Puraskar 2023, and that's how I connected to Anushka for my viewers. Because when the awards were listed and the list came out, I was looking through people whom I can connect and bring on my channel, and there was Anushka on the top. So tell me about this whole experience of meeting Mr. Modi. I saw his picture with you, and what else do you have to share about this ceremony, this award, and how does it change your life?
I think it's changed my life forever.
Wow.
Entire experience, we went to Ashoka Hotel. We stayed there for a week, and we had a bunch of like interviews and events throughout the week. So first we had met the Honorable President during our award ceremony. And before that, we'd had rehearsals. And of course, I'd heard of Vigyan Bhavan, but just to be in there was
Wow, it's
kind of.
amazing. Yeah.
And actually, my grandmother, we were talking, I think, a day before I got awarded, and she was showing me pictures from 1970 or something when she went to Vigyan Bhavan and she was sitting there. And she was actually there during my award ceremony as well. So
Wow. So tell me about your grandmother. How did she go to Vigyan Bhavan? Was she also an awardee, or was she there for working for the government?
yeah, I she used to work at Teen Murti Library
Okay, okay,
for
okay. Mm.
majority of her life. So she often used to tell me stories about her experiences, and she used to sit in Vigyan Bhavan, and she's been to Rashtrapati Bhavan. So she has all those pictures that she keeps on showing me. So that's how I
Wow.
found out.
So life is full circle.
We
She's
went
also a
to
good.
the Pradhan Mantri Museum that is there, and it was an amazing experience. I think it's a very beautiful museum they've created. They've used all this new technology where you can actually sit across your favorite prime minister and they'll Photoshop the picture. It's very cool. And it just amazing. And there we had our press interaction. We met Smriti Rani ma'am, and she was amazing. She was so nice. She took us out for chaat papri at the end of the day, and I think she fed me like way too many gulab jamuns because I'm from Delhi. But it was amazing. She was so welcoming and encouraging, and she spoke to each and every one of us and tried to learn about what we've done, why we're here.
Work.
And then, of course, meeting the Honorable Prime Minister was just otherworldly. Like,
Oh,
I think that was the main highlight when he entered the room. You could just see
which
the
was the day?
aura.
Which date was this?
That was, I think, 24th, if I'm not wrong, 24th January. And he entered the room, and like the entire aura changed entirely. and we were able to interact with him. I asked him questions about mental health, and why do you think mental health is such a big issue? So he talked about how joint families are now getting disintegrated,
Mm,
and because of that the child has a weaker support system, because the parents are also working. There's a single child, no sibling, nothing. And then about how do we tackle the stigma that's attached to the issue of mental health in India. So if somebody is going through an issue, they seek therapy, they'll be termed in society as pagal or
mm,
something on those
mm,
lines.
mm,
So he spoke about how awareness is the most important, and we need to just keep on talking about the issue till we get there.
mm.
It was a complete surprise. Actually, I had my exams going on at the time, and I was like studying in my room, and my mom came in, and she got a mail on her phone that
Oh,
I was supposed to go to the hotel. So then she yelled in my face, and I was so confused. I'm like, "What happened?" And then she told me that you won the award, and I was like, "Oh, okay." But it still took me like a week to process it because we had to go to the hotel the next day itself. So I didn't know how to deal with anything. I was just in complete shock for 2 weeks, but now I think
wow.
I've processed it. So
Wow.
yeah.
So that's a good time to reminiscence. It's just if I that how did it all? Now you have processed it. Now you enjoy this throughout your life. This is going to be with you. Wow. What is your strength and what is your biggest weakness, which you still think that you have to overcome?
So I would say my strength is my confidence, and how I think kindness is not only about being kind to others, but about being kind to yourself as well. So I make a lot of mistakes because I'm a human, but trying to forgive yourself and just giving yourself that space and energy is very important. And I think I'm good at that. And I empathize with myself, and I don't
Mm,
put too much pressure on myself. Um, and that's my strength. I would say my
mm,
weakness would be a lot of things. Time management, I'm still working on that.
mm,
Reading more books and just being more well read. And also I think even though I'm confident, I'm also very shy at the same time. I don't know how that works out, but it does.
okay.
And especially with people in my age, I'm still working
Mm,
on how to entertain them, be a more positive
mm.
person to talk to. Yeah, it
Yeah,
always
but
helps.
yeah, but I think Anushka, these are personality types. If you are not that type, so don't change yourself to be somebody else. Like you
Hmm.
are what you are. That's your core. You may not be going out
Yeah,
and speaking to everybody and say hi, hello to everybody who comes home. But you are on stage. You are yourself, and you can address so many people which
yeah.
others can't. So
I
I
would
think,
say that it's more that like the kind of work I'm doing. I've talked to a lot of people, a lot of victims of bullying, and I think just to understand how to lead the conversation, to understand how to make them feel comfortable is very
yeah,
important.
those
I think
those are.
I was talking to RJ about this the other day during my Red FM interview, and he was basically giving me tips on how to be a more conversational person. And I think the main thing he said was just ask questions, because people love talking about themselves. So if you give them space to do that, I think you'll be very liked by them. So
Exactly. So, Anushka, my next question would be, um, who is your role model? Do you have somebody, or you take from everybody, or do you have a role model whom you follow and you want to achieve something like
So
that
I
person?
grew up really idolizing Mother Teresa. I loved her need to help people. And we also share a birthday, which is also one of the reasons why
Oh,
I like her so much.
wow.
And
Okay.
also Kamala Harris, AOC, all of these big women who are in power are just very inspirational. Also, our honorable president, ma'am, Smriti Irani, ma'am. I've grown up seeing a lot of. I've not really grown up seeing a lot of women in power, a lot of uh, female representation, I would say. So when I see people that are doing great work and they're women, that really inspires me. also do great work myself. And this is
Oh,
also
yes.
Namita ma'am from Shark Tank, Vinita ma'am, all of these amazing women entrepreneurs. So just seeing women be successful is my
All
inspiration.
your role model.
Yeah.
So where do you see yourself in 20 years from now, Anushka? What would you, Anushka, be doing? Just a vision in your mind, maybe. Where will you be? What will you be doing?
I'd like to keep an open mind, but I just want to one day be as passionate as you are about what you're doing. Uh, and I want to keep helping people. I think that's gonna be at the core of whatever I'm doing. But I'll keep an open mind and I'll see because things change. Life
And
is,
things change, life change. This is something, this interview is something which I will always cherish, because the way you are working, because you had faced this issue and you wanted to help others, that is where it comes from. That, okay, I want to change what I had gone through. So lovely. Anushka, do you read? As you said that you're not reading a lot right now, but if you have any book which you can share, or any podcast which you follow, for people who are listening to you.
so I love this book. I've read it. I think I read it sixth grade and it stayed with me since then. It's Rich Dad Poor Dad, and it's a must read for every teenager out there. We really don't talk enough about financial literacy and how important it is to learn money and not like
Mm,
accounting as such, but just to know how powerful money is and how you can, not participate in the rat race but still be as successful.
mm,
And so
mm.
the whole funda behind entrepreneurship is, I think, what this book is. And as for
I'll sh-
podcasts, I mostly listen to psychology podcasts. So if you're interested in that, um you can just search them up on Spotify. I find them
I
there.
will show you one book which I read a lot. I mean, this is a Bible for me, and it's Teenager. Your Teenager is Not Crazy. It's written from a perspective of a neuroscientist and how teenage brain works, and he has broken out into different chapters which are very, very pertinent. Like each language, how the teens speak, what
Yeah,
they do, why they behave in such a way. So everything is written in this book, and I think that would be a good read for you, because you
definitely.
are interested in psychology, as you said. Manishka, there'll be some question now. There'll be it'll make you think a bit. You can take your time. Supposing you have talked a lot about people in power and politicians. So now, if you are made country, a prime minister of your country for a day, and you have to take only three people in your cabinet. So who would these three people be? Only three people and not a family member.
That's so toughie.
For your Shark Tank investor, your
Yes,
host,
definitely.
I
Anupam Mittal, Aman Gupta. I think if Aman Gupta comes, we'll have the most fun cabinet ever. So, a lot of
think
people.
Kamala Harris you must take because you idolize her also.
Kamala
So
Harris. I mean, I
yeah.
was trying to think of somebody who's not already a politician. So I
So
was like,
you can choose anybody. It's your cabinet. You have just all right. Let's see if Anushka, you have to write a book on yourself. What would the title of the book be?
I'm
Yeah,
I
no.
would say a beautiful
Why don't
mess.
you name it Kavach?
Yeah, I name it Kavach only. I think that's very nice.
Because Kavach is a very wonderful title. It is like a
Yeah.
very, it has lot of layers. It has a mythological feel to it. It has kind of, as you said, it is a for anti-bullying. It can be for anybody,
I think
Kavach.
Kavach is like now just what I'm going
Perfect.
to use everywhere
What?
now.
I
Kavach.
think you should go for this. Patent the title. All right. Anushka, my next question to you is if you have to go back to school, no, I'm not saying your school, any school scenario, and you are given a power to change three things in school, what would those three things be? Anything you can do.
Well, I would first of all make mental health and make bullying discussed more often. So this
Mm.
could be during class, or maybe there could be a other specific lesson. Like for me in my school, we have well-being lessons. So things
Mm.
like that, to discuss issues like this for every single grade. And I would also change the way we learn. I think that's something that needs work. And I think what a lot of people don't understand is that it's not that we hate learning. It's that if
Mm.
learning was just a bit more interesting and engaging, then it would stay with us forever. And I only remember a lot of the things that I've learned in primary school because in my school learning was very
Fun.
engaging. We used to do
Um,
projects and we used to collaborate. So that aspect, especially collaboration, it really
mm.
helps you develop that sense of teamwork and empathy, which you can't do otherwise. And lastly, I would make the school system more transparent when it comes to sharing about the work that they're doing. So a lot of the times we don't really know what our school is, what actions our school is taking against certain issues. So I would want
Mm.
more student autonomy, more student action against
Mm.
the issue, and just for everybody to know what's going on, for there to be more
Mm.
transparency in the process. And this
Mm.
is all inspired by my own school, and this is
Yeah,
where
exactly.
I've gone to as well. So that's what I've picked up.
Anushka, tell me what is one of the biggest issues which you think teens are facing all across? You meet so many of them. So, what one single issue, if you have to point out?
I would say we struggle a lot with self-identity and confidence. I see
Okay,
lots of teenagers, like there are some teenagers who are naturally confident, but most of them,
most
because
of
of the
them.
kind of atmosphere that we live in, we're always pitting them against each other, and it's really affecting their self-esteem. I see that. So if I get maybe 80%, my friend gets 90%, it'll break me.
That's it.
That's it. That's what I see. The pattern,
Mm.
it's just that, she's better, he's better, and I'm not good enough. So
Mm.
that's the major issue. And
Major
that
issue.
I think is linked to every other issue. So whether it's body shaming or insecurity or exam anxiety, it's all linked to your lack of
Comparison.
self-confidence. Yes, comparison and lack of self-confidence.
Anushka, coming since again, I'll come back to this. There's all these issues which we are talking about. What is the role of a parent? What would you suggest to the people who are listening? What kind of a role should a parent play in this situation at home? What kind of talk they should have with their children?
I think sensitization should start very early on at home. So when is, I
Early
think,
means
five or
at what
six.
age? At age 6, 7, 8, when
Yeah,
they are
five
just
or
growing up.
six is ideal. 5 or 6, and you can start very small. You can start talking to them about how
Or
they
give
would
them some
feel.
books. Yeah.
Yeah, give
Mm.
them some books, or it's actually better if you can convey the information to them through the book. That would help.
Yeah.
That would make them feel better. And start with maybe just talking about how would you feel if somebody said something mean to you. Very
Yeah.
small things, and then you
Yeah.
slowly,
Correct.
gradually extend it, and you can finally get to bullying when the child's about 8 or 9. I think that's when the child understands what it is. And you also need to be very clear in conveying to the child what is bullying and what is not, because that's
Yeah.
something that gets confused a lot. If somebody thing to me, I'll call it bullying even though it's not bullying, and it can be
Mm.
fixed.
Again, this is something which from your experience you're speaking, and this is hardly anybody talks about this, is that there are false bullying. These are somebody comments something, somebody, there people have become hypersensitive about this word, and
Yeah,
they make a mountain out of molehill for one line, which we've always faced while growing up. So the severity of when it actually happens is goes down because
yeah.
every small.
Absolutely. And like people don't understand either if they're too sensitive or they're not sensitive enough. But
Yeah.
bullying is very different from being rude. And I
Yes.
think you should be resilient enough to take that criticism, right? And you should
Mm.
be able to layer yourself and understand that, okay, this person is saying something that doesn't make sense. So I will not take it into consideration. But the thing about bullying is that it's a chronic stressor. So if you get bullied, it's going to affect you forever. It's not going to make you feel bad one day and then you'll forget about it. That's why
Yes,
it's a
correct.
very different
That's
thing. See the mistake that a lot of parents make. When I got bullied, my parents didn't fight the battle for me. They
yes.
empowered and encouraged me to fight it myself. And parents first talk to your child and make your child understand what they can do themselves.
Mm,
Make them independent.
correct.
You don't want
Mm.
to handhold your child and fight the battles for them. You want them to overcome and learn and grow from the problem.
Anushka, we are also, since you are a youth and you are 14-year-old, and I am very passionate about sustainability and UNSDG goals. So I like to ask you, what is the biggest threat which is our world is facing right now?
Well, I would say mental health is a huge threat. There are, of course, a lot of other issues, but it can all be linked to mental health, I believe, like your mindset and how you think and feel.
Mm,
For example, climate change. Climate change
mm,
causes an immense amount of climate anxiety, and it can be linked to, how teenagers and young people are feeling so much apprehension and stress because of the issue. And
mm,
whether it's also poverty, we have very different mindsets about education and everything. I think ultimately is the person, the human, and the human's brain. This is
brain,
where it all
brain.
started. So
Mm,
I think that's why if we deal with mental health, it would automatically give us a head start on a lot of other solutions.
thank you, Anushka. We have come to the end of our talk, and it has been an amazing experience talking to you. Now, before ending, how would you like to end this conversation? I really don't want to end it, but we have to, and I leave it to you how you want to end it. You want to say something, you want to quote somebody, or whatever, the way you want to. The floor is yours.
Well, I would just like to tell anybody out there, in case you are feeling stressed or you're getting bullied or you're facing a problem, I think you need to understand that if you don't stand up for yourself, then nobody will. And I suggest talk to somebody about it, talk to someone you trust, and gather the strength and courage to speak out about it. Because if you think that the bully is going to take pity on you, or if you think that the problem is going to get solved by itself, it's not going to. You need to have that mindset. You need to put yourself first and understand that if you're not feeling okay, then nothing is worth it. And you need to take care of that before you deal with anything else. So that's what I would like to say.
Yeah, I would like to ask one more question here, since this conversation has to end this way. Do you think our Indian movies, Bollywood movies, as we call, are a stress buster? Anything which you want to share? Like, okay, any movie or any podcast or any serial where actually an issue of a mental health of a teen has been depicted? Do you
Hmm.
remember something? And this has not been a very often discussed in our movies. I think more movies or serials should be made on this. But do you? There is a Netflix series which is there right now going on. It's called Class.
Yeah, class.
Okay, it talks about all the issues which we talked today.
Hmm.
So
Yeah.
do you have anything else which you think that people should see, a good feel good movie, but yeah, which talks about the issues
Uh,
of mental health?
I think Dear Zindagi is a
Yes,
apt
yes.
representation of mental health. And also, there's a show called Ginny and Georgia on Netflix, and its second season actually is talks about self-harm and why people self-harm and the story of somebody who self-harms. So I think getting watching those shows can help you understand what it feels like to be in that position and how beautiful actually therapy is. It's not a sad
Mm,
thing. And I think
mm,
everybody could benefit from a little bit of therapy. Really, everybody could benefit. We could all just be nicer people. So,
yeah,
and Bollywood movies are the biggest stress buster. Like, I love
abs
Bollywood movies, I watch them all the time. I've grown up
yes,
on them. So,
absolutely, absolutely. You listen to a song, listen to a movie, it's instant mood lifter.
yeah.
So absolutely. So these are some of the suggestions coming, some from Anushka, some from me, and I hope it helps. So once again, thank you, Anushka, for being here today. And as I end every week as with a quote that you have only one planet and do a little bit about it. One small step will make a difference. Do it today. Start from your home. Thank you so much. And please subscribe to my channel and see you again next week. Goodbye. Bye bye, Anushka.
Bye bye.